Hello, I'm Taj, digitally known as Tropic Vibes, the host of Nifty Business, where we highlight NFTs and explore Web 3.0 as we move from pure speculation to creating real-world value. So in episode number 313, I spoke about the redesign of OpenSea, and I gave them credit where credit was due, that they did some things that I thought was just a lot more user-friendly and putting data at our fingertips, allowing us to make some decisions without having to go to a third-party site. However, I just glossed over the fact that they have this launchpad, which I think is going to be a big deal. I just kind of threw it in there and said, you know what, now they're going to be competing with Magic Eden, and there's some features that are coming from over there. However, diving into this first drop, I think it's pretty cool that they sold out in one day. So this is only 24 hours after releasing it to the public that they sold out. And I thought that was just really cool to dive into that and just really give you the information from their own words itself and give my opinions on certain things. So in case you missed that episode, the Launchpad is how they're going to allow various projects to launch directly from OpenSea, because up until this point, OpenSea has been primarily a marketplace and nothing is really being minted directly on there. Yes, there are the one-of-one lazy mints and what have you, but this is a full project of 5,550. And in that case, we weren't really seeing a lot of that. Usually what was being minted or lazy minted on there was the one-of-one artists or photographers that were doing maybe some low editions or something of that nature, but nothing of this scale of a generative project of 5,000 plus or anything like a 10K project, anything like that was not being minted directly on OpenSea. So to see this project with them on their launchpad as their first one, having a success, selling out in this market in a day, I think that is very impressive. But looking at the mission of this, well, in their own words, well, why did we build this? Launching a new project using today's offerings is challenging, and that is an understatement, right? Obviously, there's a lot going into it. There's the tech side of having contracts, understanding what's going on the blockchain, choosing how you're going to roll this out, of course, building up the audience, the social engagement. Then there's the whitelisting, the Discord. There's so many different things as trying to get this going. So going back to this, creators require technical and creative expertise to make their vision come to life. And collectors need to trust that they are minting from a safe place. And once again, that is an understatement because as we know, there's different rug pulls, there's fake websites and so forth. So there is a lot of risk as far as minting into this current market. Anyone that came into the space, especially last year, it was a lot more prevalent of these crazy mint sites that are just draining wallets. I mean, it's still happening. However, at this point, I think we're a little bit more wary. We were really just flying in the dark, absolutely blind, doing some crazy things last year. And even myself, when I first came into the space, I was connecting to a lot of different things. And thank God I never lost anything. But that was mainly because I didn't have any funds in the wallet to be taken anyways, because I was just exploring this whole ETH thing. But going back to this whole thing, it says, with our new drop experience, we are providing creators with the technical foundation to mint their projects without compromising creativity. Also, collectors can come to one trusted destination for both minting and future sales and purchases. So I think that is a very cool thing in the sense that a lot of people only purchase off of OpenSea. They don't go to mint anything. And even myself, I don't really like to mint anything either. Not because I don't want to, but a lot of the times there's just so much anxiety associated with it for me. And I often say, I don't know how Brian Fanzo with the NFT 365 or the Mint 365 project is minting an NFT every single day, which is just mind blowing to me. But anyways, going back to this whole thing, anytime I'm getting ready to mint myself, I am pretty anxious. Even today, I was getting ready to mint the 90s Babes. They were doing their last push. They had a promotion, a lower price for a period of time, and we just wanted to sell out the last 170, I believe it was, at the point of that. And even with that, I had so much anxiety going into this, and this is a project that I hold multiple of. So just going up to this whole thing, knowing that, yes, there are a lot of people that refuse to mint for that reason. Not only is the gas wars, but the scare of connecting to a wrong website. Is this a false thing? And then there's the whole FOMO element. That's when you're going to make mistakes. So there's a lot that goes into it. However, a lot of people just watch on the secondary market. So to know that they can mint directly from OpenSea, which is primarily the source of the majority of Ethereum secondary sales, knowing that this is the trusted source, just connect to that one site and do all your activity there, I think it will lead to more minting. There's going to be a lot of people that were hesitant to mint directly from a smart contract or a website, but now that it's all coming through OpenSea on one site, at least you know, in theory, that there should be less risk with this. But going back to this whole thing, they're starting with a destination drop page. And I think that is pretty interesting in the sense that it's basically a profile page that shows all the information of this. And have you heard me speak about Magic Eden? This is basically how it is set up over there as well. And it says drops on OpenSea will have customizable drop pages that provide spaces for images, videos, and more for storytelling. We want to give creators another place to highlight their teams, outline their roadmap, and more. Drop pages will include information about the drop, the minting schedule, a countdown clock, and of course, an NFT gallery. We'll also allow collectors to set their alerts via email and add to their calendars to remind them when to return to mint. And I think that is absolutely huge because there is so much going on in this space that it is absolutely ridiculous trying to keep track of everything. And yes, I put things on my calendar and I do different things for the ones that I really am die hard focused on and I really want to get into. However, there's just so much. Sometimes I'm at work when I'm discovering these different things. I don't necessarily have the time to set up a alert in my phone or put it on my calendar, but knowing that this is directly on OpenSea and you can just have a couple clicks, have it directly in your Google or your iCalendar or your Microsoft calendar, and you can have a reminder sent to you via email. I think that is very cool because now we're really seeing that whole Web 2.5 element. Of course, we're taking what's working within Web 2 and we're bridging what's working in Web 3, and that's why we're meeting in the middle at Web 2.5. And OpenSea is a centralized marketplace, and they have a lot of old school, quote unquote, old school Web 2 marketing tactics. So having emails and calendars and all that stuff right there, I think is great. I think it is nice to have that touch because I personally check my email very regularly. And for the most part, believe it or not, email is the number one source of marketing for a lot of people that do online marketing. It is by far return on investment, the best investment that any business can make, believe it or not. Even in this day with YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff, nothing performs better than email. And I know that might seem very crazy, like with so much people are getting spam and just ignoring their box is too full and there's just so much noise in there. But yep, it outperforms every other channel dollar for dollar. I mean, it's not even close. So I think that is a win-win for both parties. We know that the buyers are looking into their inbox and they're checking out sales and promotions and so forth. So to have these alerts to remind you that, yes, something that you might have signed up for 3-4 weeks ago, it is finally getting ready to mint. I think that is awesome to have that reminder. And of course, as the creator, the business that is getting ready to launch on this platform, knowing that this is the most effective form of marketing, dollar for dollar, this is a great channel. And I think incorporating that is a very good move. Going forward, I think a lot more projects, whether they use this launchpad or not, I mean, this is not an ad for the launchpad. I mean, I have no shares in this whatsoever. However, I just know good marketing, and email marketing is by far the most effective. But going back to this whole thing, what they're calling these sea drops. A key element of drops on OpenSea is access to sea drops, a new open source smart contract that powers our new drop experience. Now, I wonder what that's going to be like because the way it was before with the shared contract, it was a total mess. And I'm not one who is going to knock this before it gets really rolling. However, I want to tell you my experience from seeing what happens with countless creators on the shared contract that they were doing, the old way of doing things, the wavered shared storefront. And as you may know, if you listen to the show, I am now on the Hoodlums team as far as the Hoodlums NFTs. And that's for Hoodlum Society. The initial one was actually done on a shared storefront contract from OpenSea. And that C1 collection, which is going to be ported over all onto the new smart contract, had a whole bunch of things. And I still have some that I collected from the C1. And let me tell you why that is a big deal as to switching off of that and not going that direction is because with that shared storefront, that shared contract, first of all, if someone looks into MetaMask, it does not show that particular collection. It just says like the OpenSea collection. And in there is, I think, just under 2 million. There's like 1.8, 1.9 million NFTs that are minted on that. And this is connected to 500,000+ wallets. So if you go to Etherscan with a normal collection, let's say a 10K project or whatever it might be, you might see something like there are 2,000 holders. So you know that those 10,000 are scattered amongst 2,000 wallets, but then you can actually see where they are and so forth. However, if you go to one of these shared contract ones, it is a total nightmare trying to figure out what's the distribution. How many are there? How many people are holding this? What's the sales record like? What is all that stuff? Trying to gather data is a complete nightmare on that shared storefront. It is great for one-of-one artists who are selling those one-of-one art pieces, paintings, photographs, videos, whatever it is. But once it comes down to a project, really building out something, especially a generative project with like 10,000, whatever it might be, that is a total nightmare. So this whole thing now, what they're doing with the C drops, and it's a completely different contract. I hope they resolved all those issues that I just went through. So looking forward to seeing that. And just scanning Etherscan right now on this OMG Kirby drop, I did see that they actually had their own token name and everything. So it looks like it is on its own contract. Exactly how that works, I'm not sure about all the technicals, but it is a step forward. So that is interesting to see. And I'm excited to see that it can't be any worse than what it was before. So as far as the minting process goes, once a collection is live, the drop page offers collectors the ability to mint directly from that page just by connecting their wallet as if they're going to OpenSea to purchase something, and they could do it right there. As far as the allow list, that is also supported as well. And if you listen to the Magic Eden episode, again, this is nothing new here, very similar. So what's next? Well, at the point of this being written, this was actually pre the OMG Kirby drop. So, of course, that went down the 22nd of September, and it sold out. Then it says, following that drop, we'll have an exciting calendar of Web3 drops coming up, and we'll be featuring talents including projects from Warner Music Group, Anthony Hopkins, and more. So that's pretty cool to see. They're partnering with bigger brands and also celebrities and influencers, if you will. I guess Anthony Hopkins, or Sir Anthony Hopkins, is really not an influencer, but he is a big time actor. And that is pretty cool to see as a celebrity. And he's coming in to this space, and they're going to partner with OpenSea. So the jury is out. I mean, how is this thing going to work out? I think so far it is a step in the right direction. I'm pretty optimistic about this. I know a lot of people will have their concerns about OpenSea and what have you. However, I think these tools and everything that was mentioned in this as a brief outline and what I see, first of all, it sold out in one day. In this climate, 5,550, that's nothing to like sneeze about. I mean, that is a great job at 0.65. I mean, it's not like it was a free mint. And right now it is trading. It has nearly 70 ETH of volume, and people are trading it. So I think just a first test run, or whatever you want to say, this is the prototype. I think they did a good job from that standpoint, and seeing how quickly it sold out, I think it will encourage people to use that platform, because I think one of the main reasons why it did sell out is because anyone that's going to OpenSea to buy something else, well, it's also popping up in your face that this mint is getting ready to go. So going forward, I think exposure is going to be a great thing, and just all sorts of things that are being offered as far as the email and the calendar and all that just makes it much more user-friendly, just like the redesigns that they did. So hopefully everything goes well. Only time will tell, but I'd love to know, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, do you think this is a cool innovation, what they're doing so far? Did you check out that mint? Please feel free to let me know at Tropic Vibes on Twitter. But as usual, I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this as we're learning and building Web3 together. So until next time, later.
The Nifty Business Arrow is not investment advice. It provides insights and information within the space. As with anything, please do your own research before making a decision whether you're making an investment or a purchase.